Hi guys, I hope you're all doing very well. It seems like forever since I've posted a video. This video is going to be about the posting exercise number 1, but I'm going to use this document, posting to the general ledger, that I've posted on the Google Classroom on Monday morning to show you how to actually use this step-by-step guide. Okay, so the general ledger was given to you, and let's start with our first step, which says classify the accounts, and we have to go through the general ledger account by account and classify them in brackets as one of the following type of accounts. So in our general ledger, we will start by classifying trading inventory as an asset. Debtors control is also an asset. You just have to make a little a. Bank is also an asset. Creditors control is not an asset, it's a liability. And then in the nominal section, we will have the income and expenses. Okay, that's always the case. So sales is owner's equity income because we are earning money from selling stuff. Cost of sales, the word cost must tell you immediately that it's bad for the business, so it's an owner's equity expense. We are losing out. Water and electricity needs to be paid, so it's an owner's equity expense. Consumable stores, this is just a little thing to help you to make the plus and the minus signs for each account based on the classification that you have just made. So in your general ledger, once again, start at the top with trading inventory. Because trading inventory is an asset, you can go and check. Assets fall under the debt side. So this asset will increase on the debit side, decrease on the credit side. The same thing with debtors control, which is also an asset. The plus is on the debit side, and if the plus is on the one side, the minus is on the other side. And then you've got your bank account, which is also an asset. Plus on the debit side, minus on the credit side. Then we've got creditors control, which is a liability. So let's go and look at our debt and click table. Liabilities are part of the accounts that increase on the credit side. So now your plus will be on the credit side, and then obviously your minus is on the debit side. For the nominal section, we've got owner's equity income. Okay, and if you look at your table, income is also an account that has a plus on the credit side. So sales increases on the credit side, decreases on the debit side. Then we've got a few expenses. So if you look at your table, expenses are part of the accounts that increase on the debit side. So cost of sales will increase on the debit side, decrease on the credit side. The same thing with water and electricity because it's also an expense. And with consumable stores, they all increase on the debit side, decrease on the credit side. And then lastly, we've got commission income. Income accounts increase on the credit side. So the plus is on the credit side, the minus on the debit side. As easy as that. And this will help you to post your opening balances as indicated in step 3. Okay, so step 3 says post the opening balances one by one. All the opening balances will go to the plus side of an account. So that's why we had to use dead and click before we can do this. Then I said to you that opening balances will always be given to you. It's always posted on the first of the month. And then there's something important in here. I said to you the balance sheet section, you must write balance BD, and the nominal section, you must write total BF. I'll come back to this right now. So let's go and look at the exercise. The opening balances were given to you. Here in the top part, it said Aluwani Retail Store had the following opening balances on the 1st of August 2019. Okay, so trading inventory's opening balance is 55,600 Rand. Now, I said to you it always goes to the plus side, and it's on the 1st of the month. So you will write August 2019 on the plus side, the 1st. And now, remember what I said here. In the balance sheet section, you must write balance BD. Okay, so what I meant is for all of the accounts in the balance sheet section, where we are right now, you will write balance in the details column and BD in the folio column. And then that opening balance amount was 55,600. The next one is debtors control, which has an opening balance of 23,980. Okay, so once again, on the plus side of the account, you will write August 2019, the 1st. Because it's still part of the balance sheet section, you write balance in the details column, brought down in the folio column, and the value was 23,980. The next one is bank with an opening balance of 19,883. So in your bank account, on the plus side, you will write August 2019, the 1st. And because it's balance sheet section, in the details column, you write balance. In the folio column, you write brought down. And the value was 19,883. The next one is creditors control with an opening balance of 9,023 Rand. Now remember, because creditors controls a liability, the plus side is on the credit side. Okay, so the opening balance rule is it goes to the plus side of the account. Therefore, on the credit side, you will write August 2019, the 1st. It's still balance sheet section, so you write balance brought down 9,023 Rand. Now we are getting to the nominal section. Okay, and remember what I said about the nominal section. I said in the nominal section, you must write total brought forward in the details and the folio columns. Okay, you'll see what I meant by that as we post sales. So the next one is sales with an opening balance of 120,000 Rand. It's still on the plus side and it's still on the 1st of the month. So sales increases on the credit side. Therefore, you write August 2019, the 1st. But now, because it's nominal section in the details column, you don't write balance, you write total. And then in the folio section, you write brought forward. This is a nitty-gritty accounting detail, but it's something very important. And it's something that usually costs the Form 2s all their marks. And then the amount was 120,000 Rand. The next account was cost of sales with 96,000 Rand as an opening balance. Cost of sales increases on the debit side, so now our opening balance will fall on this side again. Okay, the date is still the 1st of August 2019, and because it's part of the nominal section, remember to write total in the details column and brought forward in the folio column. The value was 96,000 Rand. The next opening balance was water and electricity with 100 Rand. So in the water and electricity account, on the plus side, which is the debit side, you will write August 2019, the 1st. It's nominal section, so you write total brought forward 100 Rand. We're almost done with opening balances. Consumable stores started with 200 Rand. Consumable stores also increase on the debit side, so you write August 2019, the 1st. It's the nominal section, so it's total brought forward 200 Rand on the debit side. We've got commission income with an opening balance of 66,740 Rand. So on the plus side of commission income, which is now the credit side, we will write August 2019, the 1st. It's still part of the nominal section, so it's total brought forward, and the value is 66,740 Rand. Step 4 said post the cash receipts journal. Okay, so then I said to you the total of the bank column goes to the debit side of the bank accounts. In the details and folio columns, write total receipts CRJ. Let's just do that right now. And I said highlight all the entries of the CRJ in yellow. So if you look at your CRJ, your bank column total of 25,130 Rand must now be posted to the debit side of bank. Remember, because it's a column total, we post it on the 31st. We write total receipts, CRJ. That's what I said to you in that posting document. And the value was 25,130 Rand. And I've highlighted it in yellow. Then I said every other amount in the CRJ except the cost of sales column, so we'll skip that one for now, goes to the credit side of the accounts. And I said it's usually capital and income accounts. In the details in the folio columns, you will now write bank CRJ. Okay, so if we go and look at it, the first one is the sales column. I'm just going from left to right, so it's 6,930 Rand. As I said in that document, it must now go to the credit side of sales. And it's a column total, so it's on the 31st. And I said in that document, you write bank CRJ for every other amount. The value was 6,930 Rand. The next one, if we skip cost of sales, will be debtors control of 17,000 Rand. Now, the rule was every other amount goes to the credit side. So we're working on the credit side of debtors control. We have to write the date first because there was no date, August 2019. It's a column total, so it's still on the 31st and it still follows the rule. Right, bank, CRJ, the value was 17,000 Rand. And remember to highlight it in yellow. And then lastly, we had commission income, which is in the sundry accounts section. And remember at the end of the document, I say to you, sundry accounts transactions are posted on the date of the transaction. In this case, it would have been the 21st. If you go and look in commission income, we're still working on the credit side. Because it's sundry accounts, we have to use the actual date of the transaction, which is the 21st. And we have to write bank, CRJ, and 1,200 Rand. Then I say to you, you can test yourself. If you add all of the yellow amounts on the credit side of the ledger, which was in sales, debtors control, and commission income, together, then you will get that one yellow value in bank on the debit side, and it must be the case. Step 4 was you have to post the cost of sales column of the cash receipts journal, which is an exception. And I say to you, use a different color for this, like pink. Okay, then I said the value of this column must be posted to the debit side of cost of sales. You will remember this from Form 1. So if we look at the cost of sales column, the value was 5,544 Rand. According to our step-by-step guide, it must go to the debit side of cost of sales. Okay, and it's a column total, so it's on the 31st. And then I said, in the details in the folio columns, you write trading inventory CRJ. Okay, so now in the details column, write trading inventory, in the folio column, write CRJ, and the value was 5,544 Rand. Then I said the same value must also be posted to the credit side of trading inventory. And in the details and folio columns, you write cost of sales CRJ. So in trading inventory, on the credit side, you will have to write the date first. That's August 2019. It's still a column that we're working with, so it's the 31st. And I said to you in that guide, write cost of sales CRJ 5,544 Rand. And obviously this pink value on the credit side is the same as the pink value on the debit side in cost of sales. So you could test yourself. Then step 5 was post the cash payments journal and highlight all the entries in one color, for example, green. I said the total of the bank column goes to the credit side of the bank account, the minus side. And in the details and folio columns, you write total payments CPJ. So let's start with that. Our CPJ, the bank column total, was 12,673 Rand. And I said to you, it must go to the credit side of bank, the right-hand side. And you have to write total payments CPJ and the value 12,673 Rand. Why is it on the 31st? Because it's a column total. Then I say to you, every other amount in the CPJ, with no exception, goes to the debit side of the account. So now we will only work on the debit side of our ledger for the rest of the CPJ. It's usually assets and expense accounts. And in the details in the folio columns of all these values that we are posting now, we will write bank CPJ. So if you look at your CPJ, the first value that we're going to work with is trading stock, which is the column total of 10,000 Rand. The rule said it must go to the debit side of trading inventory. It's a column total, so we write the 31st. The rule also said in details you write bank and in folio you write CPJ, and the value was 10,000 Rand. The next CPJ value is creditors control, 1,023 Rand. And even though creditors control is a liability account, we still follow the rule. We said we are working on the debit side now, and we write bank CPJ, 1,023 Rand. Why am I writing the date or the month and the year? Because it's the first line that I'm using on this side of this account. and the 31st because it's a column total. Then the next one, or the last one, was water and electricity, 1,650 Rand, but because it's in sundry accounts, we won't post it on the 31st. We will post it on the actual date of the transaction, so you have to go and look. This took place on the 1st. Okay, so now, when you go to your water and electricity account, the rule said we are working on the debit side. The date is now the 1st. You don't have to write a 1 again because there's already a 1 in the line above it. I just do it so that you are not confused. The details is still bank CPJ because that's what the step-by-step guide said, and the value was 1,650 Rand. And now we've posted our entire CPJ. And once again, you can test yourself. All of the green amounts on the debit side of your ledger, which was in trading, stock, creditors control, and water and electricity, will add up to that value on the credit side of bank. So all the green highlighted debits will equal that one green highlighted credit. Step 6 was to post the debtors journal, and I said post this one column by column. So let's look at the sales column first. The value of the sales column must be posted to the debit side of debtors control. And in the details and folio columns, write sales DJ. So if you look at your debtors journal, the sales column had a value of 30,180 Rand. This should go to the debit side of debtors control. The date is the 31st because it's a column total. And in the guide, I said write sales DJ, 30,180 Rand. Then I also said the same value must be posted to the credit side of sales. And in the details and folio columns, write debtors control DJ. So we're still working with this 30,180 Rand. Now, if we look at sales on the credit side, so we're working on this side, you will write the 31st again, debtors control, DJ, and the same value, 30,180 Rand. Then the blue value on the debit side must be the same as the blue value on the credit side. Step 6, post the debtors journal, but the cost of sales column. So I said the value of the cost of sales column must be posted to the debit side of cost of sales. And in the details and folio columns, write trading inventory DJ. So if you look at your cost of sales column, it has a value of 24,144 Rand. And now we have to work on the debit side of cost of sales. You write the 31st because it's a column total, trading inventory DJ, 24,144 Rand. And I said the value of the cost of sales column must also be posted to the credit side of trading inventory, and the details and folio columns must then say cost of sales DJ. So the same value, this 24,144 Rand, will now go to the credit side of trading inventory. It's on the 31st because it's a column total, right? Cost of sales DJ, 24,144 Rand. And obviously, the gray value on the debit side of the ledger must be the same as the gray value on the credit side. We're almost done. If we post the creditors journal, highlight all of the entries in one color like red. And I say to you, the total of the creditors control column goes to the credit side of the creditors control accounts. In the details and folio columns, write total purchases CJ. So if you look at your creditors journal, we are focusing on this value first. The 17,650 Rand must go to the credit side of creditors. In creditors control, you will write the 31st because it's a column total. Total purchases CJ because that's what I said in the guide, 17,650 Rand. Then I said every other amount with no exception goes to the debit side of the accounts. Okay, so from now on, we will just work on the debit side for the rest of the CJ. And in the details and folio columns, write creditors control CJ. So if you look at your creditors journal, the first one that we're working with is the total of the trading stock column of 15,000 Rand. In trading inventory, you will write the 31st creditors control CJ, 15,000 Rand on the debit side. Then the next one is this consumable stores column, 2,650 Rand, which should go to the debit side of consumable stores if we're following the rule. It's a column, so it's on the 31st, and I said in that document, right, creditors control CJ, 2,650 Rand. And now if you look at your journals, we have posted everything. Once again, if you test yourself, the red amounts on the debit side of the ledger will add up to the red value in creditors control on the credit side. So every single time things must be in balance. And then step 8, I said close the accounts. Entries on one side will only be totaled. Entries on both sides must be balanced. And we've taught you the balancing technique in Form 1 already. So I'm just going to go through it account by account. In trading inventory, there's entries on both sides. So step 1 was to add all of the values together. The total of these values on the plus side is 80,600, and you write the value in both double lines. On the minus side, you then get the difference between 80,600 and the values that are already there by subtracting, okay, and then you call it balance CD. So I said 80,600 minus 5,544 minus 24,144 gives me 50,912, and that's the balance that I will carry down below the double lines to the opposite side on the 1st of the next month. Okay, so on the opposite side, you will then write September, which is the next month. The first balance that I've brought down from August is 50,912. The same thing with debtors control, so you get the total on the plus side. You write that total in both double lines. You subtract the 17,000 from it, and then you call it balance CD. Okay, so then it gives you 37,160. This balance will be carried down to the next month on the opposite side. So on the debit side, you write September 2019, the first balance brought down 37,160 Rand. Same thing with bank. So you total the plus side and you write the value in both double lines. On the minus side, you get the difference between the two values and you call it balance CD, which is 32,340 Rand. And this balance must be carried down to the opposite side on the 1st of the next month, which is September. Balance brought down 32,340 Rand. Creditors control, the plus side is now just on the other side, but the rule stays the same. So you get the total of the values on the plus side, you add these two values together, and you write 26,673 Rand on both sides. Then on the minus side, you get the difference by subtracting that 1,023, and you call it balance CD. And then you have to carry this balance down to the opposite side on the 1st of the next month, like that. And then accounts with entries on only one side, we just total. There's no funny balancing thing. So you just add these three values together to get the total of sales. Just draw some double lines for me. Cost of sales, you add these three values together to get that total. Water and electricity, add the two values together. Consumable stores, add the two values together. Commission income, add the two values together.